Hello everyone, welcome back. In this tutorial, let's discuss the state management in Angular. So the state management meaning how do we hold the data on the UI side, and that is what is called state management. And there are three different ways in Angular to maintain the state on the UI side. The first one is local storage, and the second one is session storage, and the third one is using service. So out of these three, the third one, which is service, Angular service, that is the best way to implement the state management, because local storage and session storage are going to store the data on the browser itself, and it will prone to security issues. So better option is to go with service. Now let's look into all these three options with the code examples. Now let's look at local storage first. Okay, so for that I'm just adding a button. Okay, add to local storage, and I'll add a button click event, add to local storage. Okay, for this I need a function here. Within this, what I'll do is I'll say local storage dot set item, and it will take a key and a value. I'll say message. I'll say it is confidential. Okay, and I'll print that message over here just for our viewing purpose. Once I do this, I'll get the same message and display it on the page just for our convenience. Okay, right now this dot message equals to local storage dot get item, and I'll pass this message to get and display on the UI. Okay, here I'm setting it to the local storage. It will maintain it in the local, and I'm getting it printing onto the UI. Let's see. I click this, the message I got. Okay, when I click this button, this particular function was called setting it, getting it. This looks fine, but there is a big problem. If you open inspect, go to the application, go to local storage, check here the message, it is confidential. This is added to the browser. Okay, so if you set the data to local storage, it will be captured at browser, and it is big security threat, and intruders can write a JavaScript code and get hold of this local storage easily. Okay, now let's look at the session storage. I'll just say just changing it to session. Okay, now this is session storage. Instead of local, we use session storage here. Okay, same thing. Now let's check. Adding it to session storage, it is confidential. Again, let's go to the developer tool, application. You see session storage on here. When you click here, again you are able to see the message. So local storage and session storage are going to hold the data in the browser, and it is visible. Okay, so better not to use these two for session management at all. Session management meaning once you log in, you have authentication token. You want to keep the token as long as you are logged into the application, because when you navigate from one page to another page, you need token to be passed, and if there is any API call, we have to pass the token to that. So for that type of scenario, we need a state management, but we should never use local storage or session storage. Okay. Now the third way to store the data is, or maintaining the session, is using service. Okay. Now let's remove this. Okay, button click, add to service. Okay. Service is Angular feature. Okay. Now I need to create a service. I'll say data storage service. Okay. Now we have a service. Within this service, what I'll do is I'll set a message. Okay. And here I'll say set message of string. I'm going to set it to message. Okay. It will be held in service and it cannot be visible on the browser from the developers tool. Now to get this message, I'll use a get method. Okay. And I'll return the message. Okay. Now I'll inject this service into the constructor of the component. Okay. And this dot storage service dot, I'll set the message first, then I'll get it. Okay. I'll set a message. It is confidential. And again, I'll get this message and assign it to this message field. I'll say get message. Okay. Now let's check this one. I clicked, I got the message. It is set to service and got it from service. Okay. But this data cannot be visible here. Okay. This is the old data, not the current one. So even after clearing the cache, if you see local storage and session storage data is not cleared. So that's why we should never set the data to local storage or session storage. Okay. Now let's go to incognito mode. Okay. I added the message. I got the message. But if you see, there is nothing stored in the browser at all completely. Okay. There is nothing stored in the browser. Okay. It is saved at the service level. Okay. We are setting it to the service. So this is the best way. A service is best way to maintain the state management in Angular application. You should always set the data to service and get it wherever it is needed. You should never ever set the data to local storage or session storage. Okay. That's all from this session. Thank you.